Rebecca, why did you feel the need to go in there and protest today?
Well, I'm here with Greenpeace, and normally I come to the Conservative Party conference every year to meet with MPs, to lobby, to do my job as head of the political team. But this year we felt like we really needed to take a different approach and take a direct message to the Prime Minister to say, who voted for this? Who voted for what Liz Truss and her cabinet are trying to roll out across the country? Nobody voted for fracking. Nobody voted to trash nature. Nobody voted to cut benefits. Nobody voted to slash workers' rights. Yet somehow Liz Truss seems to think that that's okay, and she seems to be hell-bent on rolling this stuff out across the economy. And we needed to come in there and send a message on behalf of the public that she does not have the public mandate to do this.
But there will be members of the public who will look at this and say, actually, I can't afford to put my heating on. I'm really, really worried about the cost of my mortgage. And actually, environmental concerns and the possibility of fracking happening in the UK are pretty low down some people's agendas.
Well, actually, looking at public polling, that is absolutely not the case. All of the recent opinion polls show people are very, very concerned about the climate and nature emergency. And indeed, the government's own research has shown that protecting the environment and economic growth go hand in hand. It is completely false that the government should suggest that slashing regulations and trashing nature somehow gets in the way of growth. You can't have a growing economy if our rivers are polluted with sewage and if our national landscapes are completely trashed under concrete and bulldozers. These two things need to go hand in hand. The government actually has been elected on a manifesto to tackle inequality, to stop the benefits freeze, to support people struggling. And actually the government's latest policies will not be doing that. And we needed to take a message into the conference centre today directly to Liz Truss and say nobody voted for this and she needs to be held to account.
But you are in the conference centre. As you said, Greenpeace regularly attends these events. You know, you've got your stall there, presumably. You have full access to all of these ministers, to the Prime Minister herself. This is just a publicity stunt, isn't it? It's not really about sending a message to the people who are inside the tent, because you're inside the tent with them. You've got your own flipping stall.
Absolutely, and what's been very interesting this year is, first of all, how few Conservative MPs are even at this event, because so many of them disagree with the policies that Liz Truss and her cabinet are trying to roll out across this country. They are not in line with the manifesto that the Conservatives themselves were elected on in 2019. But, you know, actually, I think what's been made clear is that Liz Truss is not prepared to listen. And we are hearing them, her and her Chancellor, coming out saying, we listened, we're going to roll back on the 45p tax cut. But in fact, many of the other policies that the government is still thinking of rolling out in terms of other tax cuts for the super rich, deregulation to trash nature, fracking, they are not in line with what the public wants. They're not in line with what Conservative voters actually voted for in 2019. This government is not listening, and that calls for taking a different approach to the Conservative conference this year and giving a direct message to the Prime Minister.
It didn't go down well in the hall, though. It certainly didn't seem that those in the hall were particularly on your side.
I think that's what you would expect for being right inside a conference hall there, but I know for sure that many, many Conservative voters are really dismayed to see many of the policies that are being rolled out. And in fact, over the last 3 days that we've been at this conference, we've had quite a number of conversations with Conservative members who have said that they're really unhappy with the way in which Liz Truss is pursuing her policies to roll out fracking, to do tax cuts for the super rich, to not follow through on many of the promises to tackle inequality in this country. So I think actually the overall mood, both within the Conservative Party but with the general public, is of great concern about the agenda that Liz Truss is trying to roll out across the country.